Okay, here's my body. I'm here with you. It's not in the Jesus way. More in the Marshall McLuhan way. Medium extension of body and all that, because I can't. If I don't feel I would be able to get the totality of this down, so I'm doing it here. Let me turn this down. All right. So I noticed in a letter Keto made that the report was described as 500 pages, and I visited it again, and no, it wasn't. I even felt like 500 pages to me, I understand, but it was not, and I wrote it, and it's 25, it's 25, and half of it is, there's two versions. This is me transcribing it from the notebooks. Like, it took me a long time to make them because I wanted to really examine myself before I send this out, before I relay my concerns, and so I did it in the form of how keto makes notes. If this ain't empathy and compassion, I don't know what is, but I do. I do. I so do. So there's that. So to write it, to do handwriting and all that is, it's also my old journaling too, and it slows my mind down and all that, and makes me think about it. So this was not an obsessive document. This was a really thought out, laid out, edited, tried to depathologize everything, and I find it so. Where's the hypernegative critique that keto describes? Well, let's go down through this first half. It's going to be quick. I'm going to be quick. So I just want to give you a little tour. I begin it with a quote from Carl Hart about, it's probably very small text here, so tellingly, the above human laboratory data are at odds with anecdotal reports and conventional wisdom. Perhaps researchers had not asked the right question. One of the most popular beliefs about methamphetamine is that it is highly addictive, more so than any other drug. So in another set of experiments, Hart and colleagues set out to address this issue. Under one condition, methamphetamine-dependent individuals were given a choice between taking a bag of methamphetamine or $5 in cash. They chose the drug on about half of the opportunities. But when we increased the amount to about 20, they almost never chose the drug. Similar results were observed among crack cocaine addicts in an earlier study, in 2000. Thus, the addictive potential of methamphetamine was not as has been claimed. Its addictiveness was not extraordinary. These results also showed that methamphetamine addicts, just like crack addicts, can and do make rational decisions, even when faced with a choice to take the drug or not. This was consistent with the baseline, with the something assessed literature assessing cognitive functioning of methamphetamine users, but as noted below, only if one looked carefully and guarded against much of the biased information that influences public perceptions about methamphetamine users. This is from his 2012 study on that. So that's 12-year-old information. So do that. So I don't know if these Google Drive links go to the Allied drives anymore because they may have moved the shit around. But in it, day one, I expressed concern. So when keto says you might not be aware of the size of my intentions for it, no, this is what started the thing. My concern about the size. My concern about the size started the whole thing. Day one. So I know how much work you do. I know the work is uphill. I know it becomes bigger than we can handle, but it's important work, and it means holding space at a moment's notice and taking unique opportunities as they come. And same is true with surviving as a queer in the city. We 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 don't know when the next paycheck is going to come, and so we'll take whatever it is. And if it stretches us thin, then this is what cutting our teeth is. This is what making it in the city is. This is what, etc., etc., etc. And I get that. So that makes it especially important that the projects that we make do not disrupt the cutting your teeth jobs that help you survive. We shouldn't disrupt that. So our scale should be way moderate, small, but maximum impact because we're doing things that we're passionate about. Okay, so this is not new stuff. This is the core of my ethics. This is the core of everything, and was a core of the whole accountability procedures between Nix 2016. Yeah, which is we're at 8 years now. 8 years ago, this has been my core thing. As fellow town hall committee members, one of the reasons of my response to what happened is so intense. But one of the reasons my response to what happened at Queer Liberation March was so intense is because you, me busy, worked to address the various issues of the festival. One of those issues was that the festival was too large, too many queers in poverty, being overworked, feeling burnout, year after year, their voices asking for change weren't heard. That began 3 years of work that, for me, was painful yet necessary, then became isolating, and culminating in a mixed 30 that possessed none of the qualities of the festival I came to love, and had leadership that actively separated me from a new generation of staff, and seeded alternate narratives of the festival cycle with the previous board. It was a crash course in multiple levels of marginalization and abusive work practices, and being on the receiving end of those abuses for the first time. And that hell of a year helped me identify the intersecting factors of those harms both alone and at the festival. In the images below, I drew a visual representation on how each 6 sectors of harm overlap differently with each individual, and the image on the right is a part of a self-assessment called What's on Your Plate. The concept behind it is that your obligations work-wise have to start centrally and move outward, meaning, what's your main job? Oh, you work at the something. Okay, well, yeah. Oh, when they call, always going to get it. Side job? Okay, this job is peripheral, this is tertiary. Fine. We got a doctor's appointment. That's even more important. Go do that. I used the capacity plate to help determine how Sparkles was going to be supported. So during the festival, she was nominally under me, and every week was about how work was not being done because of the things that she was dealing with. So we got her out of. She had to move. We helped with the move logistics because in my thinking, once those things are out of the way in your head, then you can focus with primary focus, or as primary focus as you can. And so, and also housing is central. And so it was my pleasure to help with the move. And I also was like, oh, Flair, you need costs for this for your thing? Oh, Sparkles needs costs for her thing. So it was also a nice counter jab to Flair taking money from the organization. It's like, okay, well, let's go do it with her too. Anyway, so this is from years ago. What's called labor, the arrangement of the sentence, drugs. It was my euphemism for drugs. For the unknown factor, yeah. Money, consent. I forget what it was. But this is stuff I made 2016. This is one I made 2018. So I then list what I do to check myself. And Keto's among the first people I told about my usage to, my decision, and my decision is to use it as a med, and because I was tired of asking for people for Adderall. I was tired of my ex having to source my Adderall. I wanted it to be a choice that only I risked myself for. Because for 9 years, 10 years, um, substances were a thing that was a measure of liabilities for a bunch of people I cared about. And something that was increasingly in danger because of everyone's overwork. Everyone's overwork, even up to the top. And when that happens, sloppiness happens, and all you need to do is slip up one time. That's it. So here's all this. So this is starting to point to the hyper-negative that Keaton describes. So here's how I deal with it. I start saying I hate using mental health terms. But having these terms and learning about these behaviors help me preserve my mental health. You witnessed this with me. The obstructions and silent treatment and gaslighting of SKJ with Town Hall, the machinations of Flair with Mix 30, of Sparkles with Art in the Woods. And personally, I experienced it with 2 roommates I lived with for years. I moved out. I experienced the same behavior from a mutual friend of many people. This person was instrumental in creating a rift between me and Plush, who also started treating me in similar manner, and continues to this day. No, that actually doesn't continue to this day, because it's been years now. And they oh god, hold on, I'm sorry. I no longer have a Spotify account, or I no longer have a Spotify subscription, so, but now we're in, okay, I can stop now. This is the music. So, Plush has new people, and that's great, and I'm happy for them, and they're back at home, and I'm really happy for them, because I was really sad when their house had the fire thing. Oh god, I didn't realize. I've become so familiar with this playbook used by folks. I can now clock these behaviors in new people and avoid falling victim to them. I have come to meet handfuls of people who either have these traits or are recovering from relationships with folks with these traits. These behaviors are very particular. I have yet to be wrong in most of my assessments, though I've been wrong in how I should respond to folks with these traits. Why does it seem like many folk in my life have these traits? A potential reason is that media is about optics, and queer media is ripe with opportunity, since we are telling the first generations of queer stories while on the verge of being erased. Besides, we currently live and work in a world made of queers of various stripes, and we are 10% of a population, maybe? No doubt folks with a cluster of conditions can also cluster into households and networks. So perhaps some folks, inspired by the band word in the White House, are emerging to have a voice, to make their mark. 6% of the population are estimated to have the full-blown... the order. But a larger number likely possesses traits. It is thought that most of the world population has had to contend with these perception management tendencies in some areas of their life. Lately, I'm trying to no longer use the term and instead use emotional abuse. And I'm trying to jettison cluster B from my vocabulary. Instead, I don't use this term because it's like I'm not self. And it's like the idea of it is general people with a self that they're trapped by use spirituality to try to transcend it. But then there are also some people who never had that structure, and so are endlessly malleable, and that can be its own frightful experience. You want to fuck the void all the time? It's gonna nothing is You're unmoored, untethered, I'm guessing. I've had bits of it before. But it's a thing that exists in all of us. And both sides can both be equally a prison. The grass can be browner on all sides, everywhere. Um, and I go and I start submitting that maybe it's not a false self, maybe it's a fictional self, and 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 we all have fictional selves, and so uh, so point to my Facebook post about thousands of cortical columns, thousands of people making thousands of guesses, and they're all in one body. You know, that's just an elaboration on this thing I wrote 6 years ago. Um, but our culture dictates that we are individuals and encourages a true self, but not everyone has that. And since our culture doesn't uh, accommodate this cognitive style, those with those structures feel constantly alien and freaks out if their secret should ever be revealed, and will stop at nothing to discredit those who learn their secret. Boy, have I experienced that multiple times. Why this rant? And the use of rant, this makes me think that you've read this before. Maybe you've read this before you read the letter, but um, the sense of like, oh, I didn't read all of it. That gives you an out to be accountable to these passages. If we don't know what you read, um, which sucks. It's a sucky thing to do. Just so you know. So I'm trying to very gently state my observations of how the build it bears a striking similarity. I'm aware that folks who have had to grow up, but those with cluster B disorders, have had to navigate and survive under their abuse, and even be a baseline of human interaction to unlearn. This came in late in life to me, this awareness. So I've had to put myself in those shoes and understand what that cat and mouse chase so early on, how that can affect how one perceives the world. So don't fucking tell me I'm not compassionate. Uh, I say this as someone who has had to navigate 7 individuals who have harmed me deeply through these behaviors. Probably more. And I had to internalize those patterns to anticipate their deceptions and preserve my selfhood, which I don't quite see as singular anymore. I can imagine the mindfuckery you've had to go through. Okay, so you've still kicked that up. We don't have to go through this because this is about you right now. Devin is not taking into account many things, which seems to be also a callback to your letter. I find that very funny. That is a callback because that you're accusing me of doing it, but you're taking it from this section called. And that's me showing you the things I'm taking about. Like, this is the fingerprint of the fuckery. The tensions between the old guard of white activists of that kind of. So these are the things. These are the things that you, as the audience member that Keto is cultivating through the most recent letter, thinking maybe I won't have access to this report, or that I won't bother to do this report. And like once again, it's a pointed moment where Keto does not ask me if it's okay to share the report. I would have said yes both times because, again, transparency and accountability. But the fact that this happened either time and is this hazy document that's now being mischaracterized and hyperbolized, that sucks. So hopefully this shows you that I keep these factors in mind. But they shouldn't deflect the fact that the original intentions set forth by me and Busy was to open up her home for one night of sign making instead of a love portal party that injures Busy and her space. Something that was lighter on her shoulders and on mine, because my goal was to get Busy's place into a pristine state to make it open to caseworkers and members of community wanting creative workspace. Taking it out of Busy's home was a great idea, but there is a neighbor of that type that would have likely called the cops no matter what we did. So that's also the reason why. Is because, oh, hi, officer, no, we're just making signs for the march. Because that was a real danger. Because this neighbor that accused Busy of being a source of the roaches, and so had say evict this person, cause a disease. Very ironic considering she was debilitated with a sickness at that time. Really bad timing. Um, and um, and and showed how trashy the place is by putting her own maxi pad on the door, used, pasted it up. The interesting point to make, really interesting way of doing it. Accusation to confession, confession to accusation. That's what it's called. It's like confession as accusation, installation. Um, is this boring? I don't know. No. So the key thing was the scope was clearly talked about and was clearly part of the report. And okay, we can skip that. We can skip that. I could have backed away. Well, no, I couldn't because I was just like a slut. Etc. 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 And so, listing of my roles. So again, most of it. See, this is you characterize it as an obsessive document wherein I list how shitty you are. No, when I mention you, I show you how much I place myself in your shoes and understand what you deal with. And if anything, this is one of the times where you can rest easy because I am making it about me. Because I'm explaining to you why the fuck I go ballistic about this. Because I thought we had an understanding. Are you on drugs? Well, yeah, we're constantly on there. What's the harm? Well, let me count the ways. So I talk about this, blah, 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 kill him. And it's just like listing things I regret. Sorry. Oh, this is the tarot reading you gave me. So, where the fuck? I'm sorry. Where the fuck is the hypernegative? Where the fuck is the hypernegative assessment I gave of you? And I needed to share this because my sense is whatever you have in that letter is what you've been telling people. And I think it's highly unjust. And you want to talk about massive breaches of trust? That's it. That's one of them. And again, confession to accusation. Confession to accusation. I saw that coming. So this is the report. If anyone wants to see it, feel free. I mean, just ask me. I'll gladly. But so okay, next thing. So how much time have we been doing that? Okay. Shit. Sorry. So the other thing, the letter. I need to sorry, everything is, take it out, take it out, So here's, so you said not to put it on social media. That's fine. I fed it to generative media, however, and I put in the system prompt of a model that I have access to. Hey, I got this letter. And so, can you analyze it and see if there are any tactics of emotional abuse in there? I know there is, but can you list up this email from your housemate is complex and open to multiple interpretations on the surface. So got this. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn back the music back on, and this is gonna be a slideshow. And because it's a video, all of you are going to be able to skip and I mean and see these pages for yourself. And that's it. That's the rest of it. This thing here. Uh, um, the reason why I'm doing this because I know exactly what's going to happen, and I'm not interested in being assaulted like that. With not like not with people's opinions, but with people's points of view that I already know. We've already had these conversations, and this is just a method of control. And I, and thank you for the letter. At first, when I read it, I thought, "Oh my God, thankfully my fears are dissipating. It's going to be okay." And I rush home to write a response, and then I do a close read on it, and I'm like, "Oh fuck, this is exactly the opposite letter I thought it was." And that's a really particular response for this writer to have of something. I can rarely does a piece of language like that entice and then shows itself as the opposite of what you thought. That's a really, you want to talk about medium as an extension of the body? There's that for you. Language always gives us away. Okay, so here's some music, and then check out my conversation with. So this is the conversation we should be having in this meeting, but we're not. And so I decided to have it for us, which is what I've been learning how to do with this technology. And I encourage you all to get used to this technology because it will help you understand. If you receive anything shady from a partner or anything like that, you will be able to parse out what and why and steps to maybe figure out how to navigate the best situation for everyone. Oh God! Hold on. Gotta wait for this commercial because I don't. God damn it. Oh jeez. Okay, hold on. Everything's bad when you don't when it's commercials. I didn't expect this to be 20, 30 minutes. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Yeah. three commercials. So, how's your day? That's good. Did you see the Aurora Borealis? Nah, did I? Okay, should be done. Should be done. Jesus. Fucking Walmart. Four commercials. Okay, there we go. Oh. Okay. So, here we go. Sorry about that. Can we do it? Can we do it? There we go. Oh, oops. There you go. Oh, sorry. That was a so it cut off because I cut it off because it's like no. That's not what happened. Okay, that should be it. So, okay. Sorry.